You might think after getting it so wrong over and over, these morons on TV might reflect a bit on their analysis. But nope, pedal to the metal with the worst takes you've ever heard.
We cannot ignore there is still a lot of racism and gender bias in this country.
Wait, you're telling me the guy who would look at the sky and accuse the clouds of white supremacy found racism as a key reason for the election loss? I cannot believe it! Thank God MSNBC is around to give us such cutting-edge analysis.
There's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. Mm-hmm. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men. Things we've all been talking about.
You see, it turns out the racism and misogyny isn't exclusive to white people. Actually, everyone is racist and hates women.
Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. You know, the Democratic Party, I've always found when you're sitting around talking, they love to just sort of balkanize everybody into these separate groups and say, oh, white people don't like women and black people. No.
We need to expand our horizons on who we believe is racist.
It is time for the Democrats to say, okay, and you and I have talked about this before, a lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
Right.
A lot
and
of,
with other Hispanics. You got some
exactly.
that don't like each other. And some of the most misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men.
There's this sense, right, that whiteness, right, is under threat. The demographic shifts. The country isn't what all of these racially ambiguous children on Cheerios commercials are confusing the hell out of me. Right?
Eddie, a lot of people voted because their life's too damn expensive.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Excuse me, you dare to express a reasonable thought on MSNBC? That is not okay.
And it was here, and it
they
was
voted for. You're telling me, Stephanie, that all of these people who believe that their lives are, that bread is too high and eggs are too high, that they voted for a convicted felon, a guy who said we can grab the pea.
I think that a lot
they
of people,
voted for this
listen,
guy.
I'm not defending it. But I think there are tons of people that don't pay attention to, and I'm not defending it, don't pay attention to politics at all. But while we live in the most prosperous country in the world, people are saying, life's not fair, I'm not doing well, my son's still living in the basement, I can't seem to get a job, I don't like the status quo, I'm voting for something else, and he was the person.
I love you to life,
I love you,
but I do not believe that.
The only answer, of course, is racism.
I cannot believe that.
Because everybody hates black people.
And the reason I think you believe it is because you don't want to believe that that's what's really motivating them. It's always the case. People don't want to believe what the country actually is, because if they believe it, they're going to have to confront what's in them. I don't believe that. They voted for a crook, a person who they know is stealing from, just doing everything to undermine the so-called country that they love. And then they're telling us the BS that it's economics. We know that's not true.
I just want to remind you, these people get paid to be this stupid. Amazing, isn't it?
If you are going into a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who you know have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood, and it's completely fine to not be around those people and to tell them why, to say, I have a problem with the way that you voted because it went against my very livelihood.
Our moral superiors have deemed Trump supporters unworthy of their time. The answer, of course, is more Trump derangement syndrome, baby.
And if you feel like you need to establish boundaries with people, whether they're your family or not, I think you should very much be entitled to do so.
This is what tolerance looks like, by the way.
I think there are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
Are you going to allow me to finish my explanation?
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt.
Calling a boy is a slur. This is typical leftist conversation. Ignore the merits of what's being said and shut it down because you're offended by something trivial.
That's not how it is.
Jay,
they're not boys. They're not boys. They're not playing girls softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
Let's reset for a second because, look, this is a really heated issue.
You going to kick him off the show now for hurting his feelings?
So the way regular people interpret it,
that's not regular people.
Now he's offended by the term regular people.
That's not regular people. There's no consensus that these are actually boys. This whole thing about trans girls is a canard. We're talking about a tiny, tiny sliver of the population.
That may be the
and we're
case,
using
but
that
my point in
to
terms
take
of
away
its
healthcare from
effectiveness.
thousands of people.
Hold on, just get to your point.
My point in terms of its effectiveness. Regular people with children look at these things and they say, you know what, this is a bit too far. You may disagree with that reality, but that's why Republicans kept running those ads over and over and over again, because they saw the metrics suggested that they were working.
In those ads over and over again and using rhetoric like you just used, saying this is boys playing girls sports. First of all, we're talking about 5 people in the entire country.
You would prefer?
We're talking about trans girls being allowed to play with the people who are in their gender. And if you don't believe, you don't have to listen to me, listen to the American.
When your enemy is making a mistake, don't interrupt. These liberals are totally clueless. Let them continue this, and let the mainstream media continue to erode their credibility day by day, because they are all digging their own graves.
We will be more mature than when they lost. There will be no January 6th insurrection from our side. It must be the maturing of America.
You got that? These big brains are going to show us all how to be mature. So please, pay attention.